Welcome back, everybody, to the 2018 Academy League. We are gearing up for our final game of the night, and it's bound to be a barn burner with two undefeated teams facing off in OpTic Academy versus TLA. OpTic Academy are coming in hot after some roster changes, but have their toughest test yet in tonight's matchup.
Yep, 3 straight wins to start the summer split for OpTic, but 2 of those are against 0 and 3 teams, so we'll need to see if tonight will be the good indicator of their actual strength. So far, they've been looking really good, playing the same meta style as their main LCS team with picks like Victor in the mid lane. It's a much slower style than a lot of the teams we're seeing in Academy right now, but it's been the flavor of the month for them, or excuse me, it's their comfort instead of the flavor of the month that the rest of the world has been doing.
Hey, if it works, why try to change it? But again, they face their toughest opponent yet in Team Liquid, who are also undefeated despite losing previous mid laner Mickey in the offseason.
Yeah, and going into it, we said that TLA's new mid laner, Insanity, was going to be a player to watch. And so far, he's definitely delivered for Team Liquid. In the games that we've seen, he's been a very consistent performer and has picks that show a diverse, different style that he's able to play with things like the Twisted Fate, the Aurelion Soul, and the Aurelia, all those playing very differently. TLA is another team that decided to stick with comfort rather than expand into the meta, so I'm excited to see who comes out on top here.
Well, then let's go ahead and jump right in. No need to waste any more time, starting with the roster for Team Liquid Academy. In the top lane, it's Viper. In the jungle, Hard. At mid lane, Insanity. Bottom, Shoryu. Support, Joey and Coach Tim Kiro.
And over on the red side, it's OpTic Academy. In the top lane, it is Dokla, Fnatic in the jungle, Palafox in the mid lane, bot lane, Eclipse supported by Gate, coached by Cop Robertson.
I love these games. Undefeated versus undefeated. One gets to keep the spot. The other one has to go down to Blemished Record Town. That's not a very...
Blemished Record Town.
Blemished Record Town is not a good place to live.
Have you ever been down to Blemished Record Town?
No, they have terrible living conditions. It's awful. The water's dirty.
Everyone can only...
The roads are bad.
No one can get a 5-star Yelp review.
No, you can't get a 5-star Yelp review. There's not even a 5-star restaurant. The only restaurants in Blemished Record Town are 3 different McDonald's, and they all got the same menu. It's terrible. All right, we're getting into picks and bans, though. Let's go ahead and see exactly how these two teams want to go about doing this one. Over on the side of Team Liquid Academy, looks like first bans are going to be Alistair and Xin Zhao, taking those off the table.
Yeah, and OpTic, no surprise, banning out Viper's Riven. Got his hands on it yesterday and had a pretty good performance. It was a very interesting game yesterday where the two comps had a lot of like whoever engages first is probably going to win that fight. And Team Liquid was able to find a lot more of the engages for themselves.
Third ban of the day is Morgana for Team Liquid Academy, wanting to keep that one out of the picture and make sure that nobody's getting those CC immune shields. We've seen a couple bans towards this already so far today. Not really surprised to see them continue.
Yeah, with the presence of so many melee fighters, though a lot of them are getting banned out by OpTic, Morgana combos together super well with those. If you're going to go in and engage and try and do a ton of damage as a melee champion, it'd be really good if they couldn't stop you. And that's why you see a lot of the Morgana bans coming in, especially when you factor it into how well it works with some of the gold funneling strategies.
Also, if you're trying to go in as a melee champion, it helps if you don't get hit by a bubble that then makes it so you lose 3/4 of your health to a star. So Zoe going to be banned out by OpTic Gaming there. They want to keep that one out of this game too. Team Liquid Academy starting off saying, all right, Nocturne's going to be our first pick. That's a strong jungler right now. They get Xayah and Rakan in their second rotation, while Shin and Lucian are the first picks for OpTic.
Yep, and TLA kind of continuing to work with what worked for them yesterday. Joey and Shoryu have mostly been playing standard bot lanes. Even when they did play Marksman on the 8-11 patch, they were often going for that AP Marksman build. And now that Crit's back, you're seeing him play a lot of these other things. Xayah, Rakan, going to be very good for them, as well as the Nocturne pick that they played last night, also doing very well. So TLA, once again, sticking with comfort.
Now, Aatrox being locked in on the side of OpTic Academy suggests to me a support Shin.
That would make sense.
Because usually we only see him top or support. Aatrox we only see top. So we can use our deductive powers of investigation to say, I think Shen is going to go into the support role.
Pretty good deduction there.
Yeah, and I'm just a lowly little play-by-play. I'm not supposed to know how to analyze stuff. That's what you're for.
I don't think it means you can't.
I'm going to take your job. I'm going to sit on that side of the desk and say snarky stuff.
Well, I'm going to leave. You'll be by yourself. There'll be no one on that side of the desk then.
No, you have to take my spot.
No, I don't feel like it.
All right, fine. We're going to find somebody else.
It's not a role swap. You benched me. I'm gone.
One of the camera guys is going to be the new Mark.
No, they'll be the new you.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. I'm the new Mark. Okay, anyway, back on what we were doing. It's top lane and jungle bans so far. It's Renekton banned out by OpTic Academy. It's Camille banned away by TLA.
Yeah, with their top laner already locked in, there's a lot more focus coming in with these top lane bans. Gonna want to see if they ban out the Ornn, which was a champion Viper was playing a lot of the time when he wasn't getting his carries, and that long-range initiation threat was allowing the rest of TLA's very heavy engage comps to follow up super easily. So we'll have to see if they do that. Not choosing to, banning out the Galio instead. Got to imagine that's going to be an Ornn heading up to the top side, though. That's probably not very fun to play against. Though, hey, we did see Hanser get a solo kill in Ornn versus Aatrox. Or get solo killed.
I like the Galio ban when your opponents have already picked up the Nocturne, because if Nocturne's a ballistic missile, Galio's an artillery strike that comes down on top of it. That is one hell of a delivery.
He's like the homing beacon.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Nocturne's just the tracer bullet that goes in, and they're like, oh, okay, that's where we send the big gun.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Galio falls in, but that's not going to happen here today, with the final ban of the day being that Yasuo, like you said. That's taken out of the picture. Rek'Sai picked up for OpTic Academy as the response over there from their opponents. You are going to see the Jax picked up, and I'm not gonna lie, Mark. What is champion number 4? The splash art's not
TF.
Is that TF?
Yeah, it's Twisted Fate. You're talking about Jax TF?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
For some reason, I don't know why that doesn't look like TF. I think it's. Is that not backwards? I don't know. My eyes are messed up. I need to go get glasses. I'm going to schedule a thing with the glasses doctor after this, obviously, because I was not picking up on TF, but TF Nocturne. Okay, I see it now. For some reason, now that it's switched, when it was in 4th slot, I could not tell for the life of me who that was. Now I see his hat. TF Nocturne, this is some scary setup potential for games.
Yeah, they got Jax on the top side. They're going to be trying to snowball him a lot. It's a very similar strategy to what they ran last night, where they had a Riven up there instead. And they also ran the Nocturne TF, the double TP onto somebody and kill them while no one else can TP to join the fight because they're blocked out. Shen is going to have a hard time clicking whoever they're trying to kill. So he's not actually a very effective counter against this dive comp that's going to be coming in for Team Liquid. On the flip side, OpTic Academy, pretty standard. The Rek'Sai is the biggest mix-up, but I forget if it was LPL or LCK I was watching. But yeah, Rek'Sai has started working her way back into the meta.
Also important to note that because that Shen is going to be played in the support role, like we accurately predicted, he will not have his ultimate, or at least should not have his ultimate, at the same time TF and Nocturne do. So if those two can hit their ulti point and immediately find a way to capitalize and use it, you can get there before Stand United ever comes online.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mismatch in those timings like you're talking about. The interesting thing about Rek'Sai is she's always been a level 3 power spike jungler, because you take your Q and your W for clearing.
This is the greatest display of honor I have seen in League of Legends in so long. This is perfect. This is what I play League of Legends for. Whenever I find a game, Mark, where I can walk up to my opponent and spam emotes on top of him and he'll do the same thing to me, I know that I've found a truly honorable player. I'm so happy to see that even after years and years of this game, some traditions stand tall.
Not very many honorable players left in competitive play.
No.
Not many guys would do that.
No, there's not. And that's why I'm so happy to see this here, especially between 2 undefeated teams, where maybe bonking that guy could be the difference between winning and losing the game in some crazy butterfly effect. No bonks here. Not today. Not on this rip.
You know who's the most dishonorable player then?
Who?
Based off that definition would probably be Darshan. In scrims, playing Mundo, he will chase you down and Q spam you to death if he can. He doesn't care it's a scrim. He doesn't care about anything. Every single time he picked Mundo, run at you Q spam.
That is not honorable. The Jax and the Aatrox already showed us the true path, but now these two do have to get into some real League of Legends here in the top side. Remember that Jax, naturally a very strong pick against auto-attacking champions like Aatrox due to the nature of the counter-strikes, stopping so much of their damage, so I want to see how well he's able to deal with that here in this top side on the side of the Aatrox.
It's interesting because while Aatrox, once he starts scaling a little bit more, is heavily reliant on his auto attacks. Early in the laning phase, he does function a little bit more like a spellcaster AD champion because he uses E a lot. Sometimes you even put a lot of points in there before going elsewhere. You can split E and Q relatively evenly, things like that. As we see, taunt misses. Some aggression down the bot lane.
That one's going to be sidestepped a little bit there, but it's not going to stop Lucian from following up on that one a little bit. Looking to make things happen. OpTic Academy trying to utilize the power of this bottom lane, even up against something that's so well proven like the Zion Recon.
Yep, so that's going to be a Good matchup early, I assume, for the Shen and the Lucian. Going to be a lot easier to fight. And like we're saying, you can kind of see the spellcasting nature of Aatrox providing some difficulties for the Jax early on. And it's the kind of thing where I fully expect the Aatrox to have a tough time in all-ins versus the Jax post-6 especially, when he can dodge out on the ultimate bonus attack speed and all that stuff. But, you know, if the Aatrox doesn't play the all-in game and focuses more on trading with E and Q and then using his W to lifesteal back up, there might be a different way to approach this laning phase, and Jax could have a hard time too.
I mean, Jax is one of those champions too that early on just doesn't feel strong. I mean,
oh yeah.
The ability you max in Power, I don't know how many people, if you probably don't know this if you don't play Jax, Empower just feels awful for the first couple levels. It enchants your auto with 30 damage and has like an 8-second cooldown. It's terrible.
It's basically an auto attack reset.
Yeah, it's actually terrible, but you need to max it first because of the low cooldown it gets when it's a higher level. But Jax is going to be on the back foot here for a little bit.
I miss the old AP Q max
the
build.
Are you talking about like the Jax back in the day when his passive was that AP and AD gave him health? So you just built full damage and he had 4,000 health?
I love those days, man.
And his stun was instant, but you had to dodge first with pure RNG?
Oh, those are the really glory days.
Those are the real...
Tryndamere versus Jax, and Jax has like 6 Phantom Dancers because both had dodge percent on them.
6 Phantom Dancers and a Ninja Tab, and Tryndamere can't hit him.
Yeah. Glory days.
For those of y'all who didn't play back then, you missed out on some real interesting times in League of Legends history.
The design has gotten better since then.
Yeah, it's got a little bit less RNG heavy. Let's see how well these guys can manage to tackle the challenges of this game, though. As you can see, the Rek'Sai patiently waiting in the top side, but considering Viper's so far underneath the turret, Fnatic knows there's no way for him to do anything. He has to go back.
Yeah, and to go back to my Rek'Sai point about why it's a little surprising to see her in the meta right now, a lot of focus is on level 2 power spikes. Camille Zen, most notably for that. You saw what they are capable of doing in the previous games. Rek'Sai needs 3 because you're pretty much not going to take E ever. You're going to have Q and W in level 1 and 2. And then you're not really going to have an ability to skirmish anyone. Really needs all 3 abilities to function as a champion well, as well as the fact that she, even after losing her Farm Alarm ultimate, still is mostly known for being an efficiency. I didn't come up with that. I'm not going to take credit. I don't know who came up with that one.
I don't know why I've never heard that before, or I don't remember hearing that. I'm sure that I have, but that's a great name.
Yeah, so she lost that for like the gap closing execute thing. And even with that, you set up a really nice tunnel network. Sometimes you go Tiamat early on and you focus on power clearing your jungle. But with camp respawn timers, as long as they all are right now, like Rek'Sai ends up, if you go with that Tiamat build, super just bored. You have this,
boy, I wish my camps were here.
Yeah, you have this awesome tunnel network. You've got damage, you got AoE, and then you're like, where do I go? And you have ganks, you know, you have some really interesting paths because the tunnels can get over some of the longer walls that other gap closers can't, which still is probably why you see her in the meta a little bit, but it's definitely not the ideal Rek'Sai meta.
Eclipse and Gate going to be shoved up underneath their turret here by the Xayah and Rakan duo. They're falling a little bit behind in farm, but that's because they got so many creeps here still left to farm underneath the turret, so it shouldn't be too difficult to shore up those number differences.
Ooh.
Oh.
If I had to guess what just happened there, the Guardian proc stopped the damage from coming in, as we see some aggression.
That's correct. Nice stun there, followed up. Insanity still walking away. Needs one more hit to get it. The Sphere won't find the mark. Fnatic wants to tank up this turret, but they will not get their kill. OpTic barely missing out on that one.
Looked like Fnatic flashed a little early and then unburrowed before getting the full knock-up effect and got like the little bump up. If even any knock-up.
There was something not fully there in his execution.
Yeah, I think Insanity got stunned and then just popped up a little bit too soon and missed the extra CC. Either way, whatever happened, Insanity, nice footwork, able to get out of there. And with the flash down on Rek'Sai, still in a decent spot because the repeat gank's not quite as easy.
Nocturne coming in for a gank though, seeing maybe if he can find anything, but he will not. Paranoia being down, that's a very long cooldown early on. Paranoia's cooldown is pretty excruciating.
Yeah.
Not getting something for it is actually really good for OpTic.
They did get the flash off the Syndra to help Insanity's lane out a little bit since he was down his flash. So that's not too bad. He has the Merc Tread, so he probably would have been fine in that matchup anyways. Merc Tread's rush versus Syndra, very common to get you out of the stun faster as well as avoid getting blown up 100-0. And the side lanes are a little hard to influence. I mean, they do have really nice combo potential down the bot lane for a dive. So it's a little surprising to see them use both their kind of global dive abilities in the mid lane. But if it's going to alleviate some of this pressure on Insanity, as well as the fact that the 5-minute cooldown on the flash is much longer, it's not the end of the world.
Also sets him up to be able to take that Cloud Drake. So that's first neutral objective of the game, going the way of TLA. Cloud Drake means more movement speed, more rotational power, which in a composition with two of these ultis like Nocturne and TF can help a lot.
Definitely the case. As well as helping Jax run away when split pushing and everyone else tries to collapse on him.
Yep. Got to be able to get out of there. Leap Strike combined with extra move speed will make him a very slippery target. Palafox with his blue buff is going to be spamming these waves, shoving things forward. Insanity, no blue buff on him yet, so he'll have to stick with the blue cards for now to make sure that he keeps that mana pool high enough to deal with this.
I gotta say, Insanity has definitely impressed me with his play thus far. He plays very team-focused champions, all things considered. The Aurelion Soul in 2 games on TF, focusing more on macro play and team objectives than trying to solo carry his lane. And in solo queue, known as Insanity XXX and MLG.
It sounds like a super MLG old school like 360 no-scope name.
Yeah, and then you find he's like this kind of little quiet kid, like very team-focused player. You're like, what? What?
Like,
How'd you end up with that name?
Hold on.
Where's your Zed?
Math
Where's your Yasuo?
Out. Yeah. Where's my montage page?
Yeah. It was very surprising when I bumped into him the first time around the office. He was getting his pictures done. I was like, oh, you're Insanity, huh? And then he comes out and starts playing these champions. Which is not at all what I had in mind when I heard he was picked up by Team Liquid Academy. I thought he was going to combo together with Viper, and they're going to have the most solo queue
heroes. Riven meets Yasuo meets crazy montage. OMG, how has Riot not nerfed this? 12 exclamation points.
Not the case.
Not today. Not today, Mark. They will be getting a little damage down onto Gate here in the bottom lane. No good Spirit Refuge to make sure he doesn't take any more than he has to. Shoryu and Joey, both with ultimates available to go. Xayah and Rakan, very, very effective as the duo here. Eclipse wanting to jump in. Going to be caught out by the Blade Caller. Not quite into the stun, though. Shoryu still walking himself away. Does not have to pop the ultimate here yet, but man, is he low on health.
Nice play there by TLA bot lane, knowing exactly what they need to invest to get out of that situation. Enemy team burns an Ignite, you walk away, don't use anything really, keep your ultimates and everything, and you're still good to go. So that was really nice to see, and they just continue to build their lead in the bot lane. Really hard for OpTic's matchup to contest the Xayah Rakan. Just level 1, there's just no way for Shen to really walk up and not get punished by the W start on a Xayah. So very tough, and here we see a little bit of shenanigans. I think that was a fake recall bait. Nope, not the case.
All right, Shoryu.
I saw a Nocturne hovering there.
Yeah, I was
Xayah TPing back. I was like, oh, he's going to recall in vision and then W the Shen and they're going to kill him. And then they didn't.
Yeah, that was a little bit strange. I'm not quite sure exactly what was going on there.
It was so next level that I'm not even sure what they were trying to do.
It was so next level. It was the level beyond what we thought it was, and we're still lagging behind.
Yeah, definitely.
Insanity wanting to get away from this Syndra here. Does manage to get stunned up. There's your flash and your knock-up, and more damage, and the first blood goes over to Palafox. They couldn't get it the first time, but second time's the charm.
Yeah, really nice timing there on that punish. You see Insanity's flash about 5-10 seconds away for coming up and making sure to find that kill before it came back available. And despite having the Merc Treads, the extra CC coming in from the Aatrox, able to find that kill. Very nice tracking of the enemy's summoner cooldown.
Remember that a knock-up, too, is one of the very few forms of CC that is not affected by tenacity. Knock-ups and suppression are the only ones that I know of, so makes it that much more ineffective to have the Merc Treads against something like that. Bottom side Eclipse wanting to go in onto Shoryu here. If Gate can find a taunt, it's going to be pretty deadly, but instead just dashes forward, and Shoryu gets out. Still have it.
Yeah, Eclipse's ult was a little off cooldown there. If he had it, he might have been able to force the flash. We'll take another look at this one. Just a really nice play. The Palafox ult might seem a little silly, but he's just kicking it off right there to get some orbs down on the ground to set up the stun. He knew he did not need to do optimal DPS combo as the Syndra because he just needs to get the setup for his Aatrox. Very smart play out of the scouting grounds. I guess most successful case. Very impressive.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, topside play.
Top side, Aatrox is in some trouble. They know that he went middle. They want to get revenge for their friend, and they will have it. There's that Nocturne TF combo we were talking about. You think you're in a 1v1, all of a sudden they come crawling out of the walls to get you.
And the map's starting to break open a little bit. All these globals start coming in. And that was really nice timing as well, because without the ultimate available for Aatrox, it's actually pretty hard for him to get his Bloodwell passive up. And so even though it was still available, he didn't have enough spells to actually get that kind of revive off, which would have been disastrous if he's reviving under the turret. But because he can't get that, the kill works. They're able to take the first turret of the game.
Yeah, they barely beat their opponents out on that first turret, too. If Aatrox gets the passive off there and you have to waste an extra 5 to 10 seconds waiting for him to revive and then killing him again, they may have lost the first turret bonus gold. So very important extra there from TLA to add on to what was already a good victory.
Interesting timing there. Surprised he didn't try and cue the spot where Insanity was showing up to interrupt the auto attack from coming in, but who knows? Either way, not much that would have kept him alive there. Was probably going to go down no matter what without being able to get enough for that Bloodwell passive to come in.
1,000 gold lead for TLA, even in kills, even in turrets. 1 Drake to their name. And you can see a lot of that gold lead there in the jungle. 90 to 77, the name of the farm when you compare Nocturne to the Rek'Sai. Top side, even gold between those two. Mid lane, even gold. Bottom side, a slight lead for the Xayah over the Lucian as well. I don't really know where these teams are particularly going to try to force the next big play. We do have an Ocean Drake coming up, but 14 minutes into the game, laning phase is not going to be going strong for too much longer with some turrets already taken down, so that Ocean Drake loses its incredible appeal. Insanity flashing away to keep himself alive, and they really do not like Team Liquid's mid laner on the side of OpTic.
Well, it's kind of the classic strategy of when you're going up against a really annoying global champion, you attack the global.
Attack him at his source.
Yeah, if you go elsewhere on the map, the TF shows up to that fight and brings the numbers back in their favor, so go kill the guy who would normally be the one
Go kill the
joining in.
backup before he can back anybody else up.
Exactly. So they're kind of going back to that strategy, and it's also really nice if you're able to take his turret when you do it, because TF, if he loses his turret early on, has a harder time getting into the position to teleport to the side waves, and you can get deeper vision on him and see those moves coming earlier. So it's a good play to not only kill him and stop him from TPing around, but if you're able to take his turret, limiting or making it at least more difficult for him to pursue those side lanes.
One thing I also want to point out that I only just now took notice of is the keystone on the Nocturne. Hard has lethal tempo this game, which is one of the things that makes Nocturne incredibly deadly as long as he procs that fear. Pretty much as soon as the fear procs, that's when you get the lethal tempo bonus. You just shred the guy to pieces, but it doesn't give you that instant missile damage that Electrocute does, where as soon as you hit the guy, he just gets hit with that much extra burst. So I want to keep an eye on that as the game goes along to see if anybody survives with 100 HP against him from his initial burst, and Electrocute would have killed them. I don't think either is correct or incorrect, but it's a style choice, and Hard has gone with the more damage potential and a slight delay style.
Yeah, Nocturne is one of those champions who has a ton of DPS, all things considered. He has a crazy attack damage steroid on his Q when he's on the trail, as well as having the attack speed steroid on his W, the spell shield. And so if you ever get your lethal tempo off while chasing someone who's feared down
with the trail on them,
you have monster steroids for your attack speed and attack damage. You can actually 1v1 a ton of people in the game. The only problem is you're squishy, and you can also get blown up and never really get to see lethal tempo's benefits.
Speaking of getting blown up, Fnatic goes in, able to find the flash into the knockup. Hard wants to use the ulti to get himself away from this one. Trail's going to keep him alive for an extra moment, but Palafox gets that orb right where it needs to go, and Hard is out of there. Thanks for the leash, buddy. OpTic Academy will take that Rift Arrow.
You're going to take that Rift Arrow. Will cost them their bot lane turret for that play. Hard playing that one a little risky without very much deep vision as he starts off the Rift Herald. Going to have a snowball effect as OpTic transition from that kill on Rift Herald. Top side.
Bottom side, Joey decides to go ahead and pull the trigger. They want to go for Eclipse here. Insanity making his way into the fight as well, but reinforcements have arrived. Insanity grabbing the first kill onto Eclipse as Joey goes into stasis mode, defending against Stokla's onslaught. Palafox wants to come in from the side here as well. Insanity barely going to be staying alive for now. He does fall to gate. Palafox wanting to go in into the 1 versus 2, does manage to take one down immediately, and Team Liquid Academy will now lose their top laner. A double kill for Palafox.
Bit of a disastrous dive there, as not only do they lose more people in that play, that Rift Herald's working down the top side as
lethal tempo.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the damage potential you're talking about. As soon as your opponent's stuck around you for that extra 1.5 seconds, oh, you're hurting.
Yeah, definitely painful, and a crazy, crazy back and forth, all starting with Hard's death near that Rift Herald. TLA trying to use those globals to punish Eclipse, who is alone under the turret, but there's enough globals left for the enemy team. Shen is able to TP in. The TP also comes through from Dokla, and they're joining in this fight as Palafox roams down to the bot side. Dokla with that revive passive that finally is getting procced here, keeps people alive. Insanity just trying to run through the turret, gets taunted by Shen, which drops the turret aggro back onto him, so he's going to drop. Palafox gets the kill and just walks away. Ends up being that 3 for 2 like you were saying.
Viper did manage to get the kill on the Dokla, and then up here, Hard's like, hey buddy, what's up?
Yeah, and it's a bit of a tempting fight to take for the Rek'Sai with your ultimate available, knowing that Hard doesn't have his. You think maybe it can work out in your favor, but just that 1v1 potential not there.
Nocturne in the mid lane, immediately blowing up Eclipse. More damage pouring through. Fnatic's out of there as well. And one thing I wanted to comment on, in that top lane fight, Fnatic actually timed the Rek'Sai ultimate perfectly to stop Hard's Fear from proccing. You notice the word unstoppable came up right as he entered into the animation. So even with that mechanical outplay, he lost the 1 versus 1.
Yeah.
That's how strong lethal tempo can be.
Definitely something to look out for. And Fnatic having a little bit of a rough game here. 5 kills, only been involved with 1 of them as the Rek'Sai. Missed that flash knock up on another potential kill. Has been struggling to get involved quite with the rest of his team. Looking for more for him this game as that Rek'Sai pick.
Let's take another look at how this pick happened here in the mid lane. It's very fast.
It's very, very fast. A lot of people to jump on you and kill you, and not many people to stop them from doing that. Shen ult not even available, I'm pretty sure.
Tough times.
As well as the fact that the curtains were pulled on top of the AD carry. You can't quite see him to click him.
3-1-1 for Hard's Nocturne, out-farming his opponent by 20 CS here as well. Definitely putting in work on this pick so far. About 1,200 gold up when you compare him to his counterpart. Making sure he facilitates his team getting further and further towards that late game. We know how strong Xayah and Jax can both be if given time to scale, and Nocturne's here to make sure they do just that. And at the same time, look at who he's got to kill in the late game. Your 2 main targets are going to be Lucian, and they're going to be Syndra. Now, Lucian, I mean, he's got some mobility. We've already talked about that earlier in the day, just how he can utilize Cloud Drakes or whatever, and why the champion likes to be able to dash around, and that might be a little tricky to kill. But Syndra? Sitting there, hanging out, no mobility, no defensive abilities? Nah, he's not going to have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, you have the cleanse flash, so if Rakan's the one starting that fight, you need to be a little careful that you don't go in for the charm W knock-up thing and you just get cleanse flash ulted and die.
Right.
But if you're playing these fights smart and taking that into account, yeah, the Syndra is going to be a very juicy target for all these different engage tools that they have.
Nocturne ultimate, back off cooldown. Twisted Fate ultimate, same story. Let's see if these guys can make yet another play here. You can see pings coming out from the side of OpTic Academy onto their tier 1 turret in the mid lane saying, hey, they continue to push up on this. We've got to answer it. Don't let them get another free pick. Chicken Camp going to be the target. Twisted Fate throws up the wild cards, trying to steal that one away. Fnatic will secure it for himself. Black Cleaver completed on the Rek'Sai. First big item that's not the jungle item. Nocturne you can see with the Duskblade and another Dirk in inventory. Full lethality here.
Got that Duskblade to, or excuse me, the Black Cleaver to shred through all that armor that's building on the side of TLA.
So much armor, man. If I look at this entire team, I can tell you I see 2 whole armor items and only one of them is a shoe.
The other one is a
Glacial Shroud, which is mostly a mana crystal.
It will become an armor item shortly.
Yes. There will be armor there.
There will be a Zeke's Convergence. But other than that, we'll have to see how many armor items get built this game. Still a good item for Rek'Sai. The move speed on the auto attacks, the cooldown reduction, it's still a very, very good item.
Yeah, it's a good item. No me Marino. It seems funny for the time being because of the lack of armor being built on the side of TLA. Aatrox with that Titanic Hydra completed first. Needs to get that Gensu's to really be that huge duelist threat that we talked about. But going back to your point earlier, Mark, you're now up against a Jax that's got Trinity Force, and by the time you finish your Gensu's, he's going to be done with his Titanic Hydra most likely as well. So now Aatrox is like, okay, I'm this strong guy who's really good at like fighting in the split push and the all-in, but I don't want to fight Jax.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't win that. We see the gank in the mid lane.
Oh, remember what we said about Syndra and being a target as Rek'Sai goes in just to get himself killed. Fnatic does not want to be there, but he is anyway as the tier 1 turret goes with him. A Big win for TLA.
Most importantly, they didn't just kill the mid laner, they killed Fnatic with the smite. So this is going to mean a free Baron for them to start off. OpTic does have some members to try and contest it, but this feels like a suicide mission.
Well, here they go. Let's see if they can do it. They've got to try. Baron down to half HP. Taunt lands onto Joey, who dashes away to the safety of his teammates. Extra range, but he dashes to Zaya. Dokla here into the middle of the fight, seeing if he can make anything happen. They got it! The Aatrox steals the Baron. Dokla comes up massive. Gate grabs the kill onto Joey, able to find a taunt here as well. Shoryu staying alive. There's still 3 up on the side of TLA. It's a 2-for-3 trade. The Baron is given away, though. Absolutely insane steal from OpTic Academy to stop this game from getting out of hand.
We'll have to take another look at that, I'm sure, to see exactly what went down with the smite here, because this should be pretty much guaranteed. Dokla did do a good job distracting by flashing in and ulting and looking like a big scary demon thing.
Sure.
But you have 2,100 damage. It gets spiked.
Oh,
that's
29 away.
29 away, but there's no real threat of it getting bursted. There's no more giant spike of damage that's going to come in. You were relatively healthy. I think he was at like 500 HP. Actually, he had a smite for the HP, so maybe he was closer to dying and felt like he had to smite then to not die to the Aatrox. I'd have to watch that one more time to know exactly if that was a big mistake by Hard, or if Dokla had some good target prioritization to put Hard in a situation where he thought he might die.
Either way, that saved the game for OpTic.
Absolutely the case. Doesn't look like Syndra got the Baron buff. I'm not sure. Rek'Sai doesn't have it either. So unlucky that they couldn't have Smite stolen it a couple seconds later. But like you said, saves the game because there's no longer this global pressure from the Baron buff buffing up the minions and TLA diving you with those advantages.
There's not that. This game would have been 3,000 gold more apart, considering it's a 1,500 gain for the side that got it. So considering you're already staring down the barrel of a 4K deficit, 7K at this point in the game with your opponents having Baron buff, OpTic would have just been on the clock. They would have been stuck in their base praying for a mistake from TLA. Now they've still got the ability to maybe keep this game in their own hands.
Yeah, they've got the miracle, but what can they do with it? Because it still feels like, while that's great, what can you really work with? Because the Jax, like you said, feels like a very advantageous matchup versus that Aatrox pick. They'll have all their global engage tools up, and it feels like whoever's in a side lane or wherever the Syndra is under a turret, they just keep diving her.
Sometimes the first thing you need after a miracle, Mark, is another miracle. Yeah, you turn the water into wine, but we need a couple more gallons just to make sure that this all works out. Dokla will work on this Ocean Drake himself, grabbing some extra regeneration here for the side of OpTic Academy. That's the first Elemental Drake this team has secured. And they're moving around as a unit. I like to see this. You cannot allow anybody to be off on their own, on their lonesome versus the Nocturne Twisted Fate combination.
I think kind of running down at Shoryu, but not enough of a threat to really look to pull the trigger there. And the Jax, after seeing everyone,
he's like, all right,
that 1v1.
Nobody's near me in this Aatrox. I can try to have some fun here with this one. Insanity pushing up into the top side. There's a single card into that turret and realizes it's probably time to get out. Gate hangs around in between these two lanes, making sure if anybody needs some help, he's there to defend. Viper continues to push up on the bottom side now as his team pressures everywhere else. This is exactly what you want from split pushing. Make sure everybody's in position at the same time. Joey makes his way down here. For those of you who are wondering why you use a Counter-Strike, you can actually get 2 different Trinity Force procs off with one use of Counter-Strike, once on the activation, once on a slightly early cancellation. Makes it so you take the turret that much faster. One reason why Jax is so good at split pushing once he has that Trinity Force. And with 5 turrets now down on the side of their opponents, Team Liquid Academy has that bigger and bigger gold lead. 6K now, getting harder and harder to deal with for OpTic.
Yeah, and this is why having that Baron buff would have been absolutely disastrous.
Here we go, Nocturne showing up in the bottom side. Dokla wants to get the passive, does so. Hard barely walks away from the turret. Resurrection comes through. Charm also going to be coming out. Dokla taken down. Viper now going even further in, recognizing the fact there's no way out but in. As he manages to get a second kill. It's 3 dead on the side of OpTic Academy as TLA has to back away. They have won the fight, but their health bars are potentially in danger. Palafox, no ulti, but still has the entire rest of the Syndra kit.
Still going to be pretty hard for them to defend this. Joey can go back in with his W and threaten to kill the Syndra. She has flash available, but too hard to defend this turret.
hard, has also healed up by a significant margin, and it looks like inhibitor number 1 will drop 27 minutes into this game as TLA finds a fight.
They have a crazy 1-3-1 setup here. It was pressuring all over the map, and then with the global mobility it provides, they can end up in basically any lane. They dive the Aatrox for the kill, and this is why, you know, they said, we don't need the training weights of Baron. We'll do the same exact strategy without the auto-pushing minion waves.
This is just a weakness. Let us show you what we're really capable of.
Yeah, we don't want to win the easy way. We're trying to learn and get ready for playoffs.
We're going
again.
for achievements.
Here you see there's that global pressure. I mean, TF all the way up in the top lane starts rotating down as the 3-man collapse came in on the bot side. They're able to kill him. Eclipse thinks he's going to try and turn this, and Viper doesn't know what retreat means. He keeps going in, just flashes in by himself and wins that 1v1. Does let Palafox trade it out, but you see Shen not really being able to get involved. The darkness turning the lights off so he can't actually ult the Aatrox, so he has to run down. They're all slow.
And now the Twisted Fate and Nocturne just get stronger and stronger and stronger. It's double lethality items. It's Lichbane plus Roa plus Zhonya's Hourglass. TF can do the immaculate bait where you just gate in and then you immediately Zhonya's yourself.
It's the Messiah.
The Messiah.
We need to remember the legend.
That's why I called it immaculate, because to play on words.
Okay.
Messiah. Come on. Come on, Mark. Come on.
I got you.
All right.
That's cute.
Well, we'll see how it works. I really hope we get to see it. I know it's super rare, and most of the time it's actually useless, and you just do it as a meme. But I hope it's a meme we get to see.
I feel like it was you know, some of those mind games lost a lot of their effectiveness once people started seeing it more often. The first time someone ported into 5 men, you're like, oh my god, we thought we'd blow him up, and we did. Here we go.
All right, Fnatic can't quite find what he's looking for. Instead, only finds his 5th death of the game. This Rek'Sai is not doing what they need it to do. Eclipse on the back line, thinking he's safe. Still gonna be safe. They do take down hard, but now it's a double kill over for Insanity. Still looking to set up even more. Joey goes into the back line. Palafox is gone. Dokla tries to fight, but 1 versus 5. That's not a fight you want to be taking. As he goes down, it's an ace for TLA, and this is likely the game right here. I don't think anyone will stand in their way. It's 18 seconds before Fnatic comes back up. The Nexus turrets are dropping way too fast, and we said it at the start of the game. Only one of these 2 undefeated teams will retain that title at the end of the day, and when the dust settles, it's TLA at 4-0.
You liked it yesterday, and it was twice as nice today. The Nocturne TF making plays all over the map, diving people. You take defensive globals, doesn't matter. Nocturne cancels those out. Only offensive globals allowed.
This team played their comp exactly as you wanted to see the comp played, and even at the start of the game, we were kind of talking about how the Rek'Sai seemed unusual. It seemed like the pick that didn't fit in too well. You mentioned how it had a little bit of play in some other regions, but it did not work for OpTic this game.
No, and I think it's a little unfair to just blame the Rek'Sai pick. Fnatic definitely could have played it better. If they snowballed that mid lane even harder, because they did have some nice advantages there. If they were able to continue punishing Insanity and they take that mid lane turret and he's 0-2 TF, maybe he can't get around the map quite as easily and break open the side lanes, which were kind of winning naturally on their own.
Right, but since he was able to recover, since TLA did manage to play to their comp's win conditions so well, they proved why they deserve to be 4-0. And we even mentioned at the start of this game for OpTic Academy, they've played against some of the weaker teams so far. This was going to be their big test, and unfortunately for them, that test proved too tough this time around.
And maybe it's the case where they should have done more to try and mix up the strategy that TLA was going for, because like we said, we saw it yesterday. It looked really good. They fell behind really badly yesterday off some horrible level 1 stuff. And once the game started breaking open more and turrets drop, that TF Nocturne comp actually gets stronger as the game goes on and the map becomes more open because their ranges increase. There's less turrets defending you. The map's more open. And it's not like you're getting more with the Shen. He's always global. He always provides a shield, but that guy's just going to die before you can ever cast it. And so both games, it just kind of snowballed on, and they eventually found kills, and it feels like you got to start breaking this little attack pattern up for TLA.
Sometimes the win condition can be interrupting your opponent's win condition successfully, and we're talking so much about Nocturne, we're talking so much about Twisted Fate, so now why don't we hear from the source? To hear more about that victory, I'd like to welcome Insanity to the broadcast via Skype. Insanity, awesome game you guys just played. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that was great, actually, even though I pretty much just inted that game.
I mean, they threw a lot of ganks at you.
Yeah, they really didn't want you to have a good laning phase at all. They were definitely going for Camp TF as the strategy. So, you guys' strategy, though. when you guys came into this game with Nocturne and TF, like, was this what you were going for from the outset of Champ Select, or was this just something like as soon as you saw the first wave of bans go through, you're like, oh wait, we need to get that?
Well, leading up to this, we just wanted to pick Nocturne and TF for like a pick comp so we can split well as well. And for this game, we just literally all I had to do was not die, and it would have been perfect. But I ended up inting a few kills over, but it still went well.
So I got to ask you about this. The name Insanity, and in the solo queue, it's Insanity XXX, and it's this kind of like crazy MLG name looking for the highlight reels. And then you're playing Aurelion Sol and TF, and you're this nice guy, and it's just like, what's going on?
You seem like such a team player when your name would suggest 360 no scopes. What we're asking is,
where's the disconnect?
Where'd you get the name? How did you come up with Insanity XXX?
I just like the word insanity. Like I like the atmosphere around that word, and it wasn't available when I first started playing this game, so I just threw in some filler at the end of it.
That makes sense though. You got to throw that in there. It's like that's like I had the 2 on Captain Flowers on Twitter.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta
throw some junk.
I got an extra E in my name.
So everybody's got things like that. But so far, you guys are the only team still sitting in Academy that, well, wait, not the only team. You're one of the only 2 teams, I'm sorry, that has a perfect record in Academy Summer Split 2018. What do you think sets you apart from all these other teams? Why is TLA so good?
I just think we really mesh well together, and we have a really strong voice on the team, Joey, of course, and it just goes so well together with how we play.
So what has it been like kind of integrating with all those guys? Because you came in to replace Mickey, who was everyone calls Coin Flip Mickey, this absolutely crazy player, and you have a very different play style. So what has that transition been like for you?
It's been pretty easy, honestly. I think my play style actually before I came here was a lot of coin flip as well, but I'm sort of adjusting to be this more consistent player that actually revolves around the team and does what I can to sort of help everyone get what they need to be or get what they need to do done. Just try to be a team player, you know?
Yep.
Soul, TF, etc.
All right, so moving forward, working with this team, obviously you guys have had a lot of success so far in the first couple of weeks, but as we all know, a split is not just 2 weeks. So what are the plan for TLA moving forward? Like, what are your personal goals to work on and succeed at to make sure that TLA finishes the rest of this split the same way that the start has gone?
I think we just need to keep improving, stay focused, don't get complacent. Honestly, we've been playing pretty horribly, and I don't think we'll be able to win every game from here on out if we continue to play like this. So looking forward, I think we want to try to go 18-0, but it's not likely at this point. We need to play a lot better.
All right, one last question. What do you think, for you personally then, is the biggest point of improvement you're going to be focusing on to make sure that you can shore up some of those weaknesses and get that 18-0?
I'm going to try to not die to jungle ganks as much.
All right.
Or not get ganked as much as well. Focus on that.
I don't know, man. That sometimes seems like it's up to your opponents, and these guys today definitely had your number. But, hey, at the end of the day, despite getting camped like that, you were still able to have an awesome performance with your jungler hard, having that duo, that synergy between those 2 big ultis. It made everything work. It was a lot of fun to watch. And once again, I'd like to thank you for coming on, congratulate you for having such an awesome game today, and best of luck moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. With week 2 of Academy complete, let's see how the teams are stacked up. CLG Academy and TLA exit week 2 tied for first, still undefeated after 4 games. Meanwhile, OpTic Academy has joined Cloud9, tied for third. TSM Academy now joins Golden Guardians in 7th with their first win picked up today, while Clutch and Echo Fox share a winless first 2 weeks at the bottom of the standings. Now, Academy has wrapped this week, which means the LCS is on the horizon. TSM will have their quarterfinals revenge match in Game 2 against Clutch Gaming. And be sure to check on the NALCS Lounge for Game 4, where Apollo and Solo will join Freak to cover 100 Thieves versus FlyQuest. Should be a lot of fun with those games tomorrow.
Absolutely, and like you said, that rematch where Clutch Gaming ended TSM's record of always making the finals and finally getting that kind of revenge. And if Clutch Gaming can win, I can't wait to see the reactions that people will have. They are just completely TSM's kryptonite.
If Clutch Gaming can build their reputation as the TSM Slayers, that would actually be an incredible thing to see. They already did what no team had done before and stopped them short of the playoffs. And if they can do it again in regular season, just be like, hey, remember us? We remember you.
Yeah, they 2-0'd him in the regular season last
Yeah.
year as well. It's like, how does TSM just get destroyed by these guys? It's crazy.
Well, if that's still too long to wait for more League of Legends action, coming right up is a rebroadcast of this morning's EULCS matches ahead of their live Day 2 broadcast. Check out all their new pregame ready check, which starts at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time, 4:30 p.m. Central European time. Now, for myself, Mark, and the entire Academy crew, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Insanity wanting to get away from this Syndra here. Does manage to get stunned up. There's your flash and your knock-up, and more damage, and the first blood goes over to Palafox. Palafox wants to come in from the side here as well. Insanity barely going to be staying alive for now. He does fall to gate. Palafox wanting to go in into the 1 versus 2. Does manage to take one down immediately. Dokla here into the middle of the fight, seeing if he can make anything happen. He got it! The A-Truck steals the Baron. Dokla comes up massive. Resurrection comes through. Charm also going to be coming out. Dokla taken down. Viper now going even further in, recognizing the fact there's no way out but in. For the back line, thinking he's safe. Still going to be safe. They do take down hard, but now it's a double kill over for Insanity. Still looking to set up even more. Joey goes into the back line. Palafox is gone.